3. It didn't take long for each of us to push through the veil between worlds to reach the other side. This was one of the few things in which I was good. Pushing through the veil as though it was a paper sheet blocking my way, punching straight through, without much effort. I saw that Fox had beaten me to the other side like usual. MF was right behind us, and so was BF. Tree Shredder had the toughest time breaking through. He worked on his strength more than his spirit, but it only took him a few seconds more, not long to keep anyone waiting for any amount of time. We never walked faster to the lake than on that day, and a spirit waited that looked like a colorless, shapeless kid. It looked humanoid in shape, only a yard tall, but had gray and white coloring swirling around lightly through its body. It waited there with a piece of wood and scratched it with a finger as we walked up. The spirit spoke clearly, but in short bursts and in code like other spirits, but it is the most any of us had ever heard a spirit speak in general. It blurted out in the question.
Lake Pack, here for your guide?
Fox nodded. The spirit looked at Fox and asked in a questioning tone.
You, member?
Fox nodded again. The gray coloring in the spirit moved up to what would be its head. It looked at each of us for nearly a minute and scratched a bit on the board. When it scratched on the wood, we all heard how many scratches we each had. When it looked at Fox, it marked on the board a dozen times, but it did not show us what any of it meant. It held the piece of wood close to it and marked a line under the section when it was done with him. It looked at BF, who struck a pose. The spirit marked some more, nearly 7 times on the board. It stopped at TS and marked on the board 5 times. It stopped at MF and marked on the board 8 times. Each was quick marks up and down or side to side. Its head turned towards me, and it stood watching me for longer than the rest, looking up and down. It scratched once on the board, looked back up at me. This was a different reaction than the rest. It marked twice more, but the last marking was longer, and its arm moved around more than the rest, but seemed to be a 3 mark on the spirit's board. That marking number dropped my head like a rock sinking into the lake only yards away, with a kerplunk. BF nudged TS with his elbow, and they both pointed and chuckled at me. I knew an earful of teasing was in my future when the Alpha wasn't listening. The spirit walked back in front of us all, looked over the board, over all of us again, and nodded. It finished by saying,
Wait.
And then vanished. BF dared to whisper when the Alpha walked away for a few seconds to sit on the edge of the lake. He snickered and spoke quietly.
Hey, nice score, Runt. I'm sure those 3 lines meant that you impressed it. If we get a crappy spirit because of you, you are going to get it.
Hey, you two, shut it.
The Alpha called, and everyone looked over at him. He told us to sit down with him. We did as we were told. He continued.
The number of markings has nothing to do with a score. You all were paying attention nearly as much as I was. And the boys' markings were not a score, and neither were all of your markings. They were just representations. We do not know what that spirit saw in us, only that I am the best, of course. I used to have a pack, and I have been training for some time. You are still learning and growing. You will surpass me one day, I hope.
He might have been the Alpha, but he was also an adult, not some teen like the rest of us. He no longer had a pack, and Gaia had more plans for him, so he was a mentor to our group of teens. He hoped we would work together a bit more, but he wasn't our master or parent, so he did what he could. Fox continued.
Everyone just sit here, shut up, and listen to the spirit realm in this lake. You should listen every chance you get to the whispers of the spirits. They are everywhere here.
We sat for too long. Nearly 5 minutes went by, and we had not heard or seen the spirit come back. Tree Shredder was the most impatient one. He got up and paced along our side of the beach of the lake. Another 10 minutes went by, listening to everything and hearing nothing. Monkey Feet got a little antsy as well and started fidgeting. She stretched out her legs after having been sitting on them. Brownface was next. He got tired of being patient and started doing push-ups like the rest of us were watching, but none of us were. Losing patience after another 15 minutes myself, I hope that I didn't jeopardize our chance at a spirit totem in general. Did that even happen? We all heard a growl not far away. A spirit had walked up to the lake, and it was a mean-looking badger spirit. It started lapping at the water when it wasn't quickly attacked by the nearby pack. In other words, us. After a couple more seconds, it growled, wanting to start a fight. We had a real spirit fight about to start, the first one, and we have not practiced doing in general. We have practiced a few, but none in the open spirit realm, usually in a controlled area designed for us. It screeched, bared its fangs, growled, and hissed. Fox told us fairly quietly.
Spirits are not always as they seem. It looks small, but we should always try to take them together. If we do handle them alone, we do get some more of a possible bonus. But it doesn't.
BF blurted out.
Bonus, you say? I can take it.
Brownface had already jumped towards and growled back at the spirit. He started to shift into the warrior form, drawing the badger spirit's attention. He grew a foot taller within seconds, his teeth and fingers getting sharper. With one leap, he closed the distance, and a jump swipe started the fight. Fox called out,
Wolf form. Everyone.
The rest of us followed his orders, shifting into smaller predators, but BF had already started the attack, swiping at the much smaller creature. He connected with it, clawing in a first blood strike, but the spirit did not bleed open like a regular animal. The spirit backed away a few steps and darted in for a bite at the huge wolf beast that struck first. The werewolf might have huge claws and bigger muscles, but the first claw dig at the spirit did not drop it. The badger is a sturdy animal, and it is an even sturdier spirit. It just doesn't give a crap. When it got inside BF's reach, it bit into his left bicep and made the huge beast wail. The werewolf might have huge claws and bigger muscles, but the first claw dig at the spirit did not drop it. The badger is a sturdy animal, and it is an even sturdier spirit. It just doesn't give a crap. When it got inside BF's reach, it bit into his left bicep and made the huge beast wail. Brownface felt some pain. We had been training for a little while, but he hadn't been a bit like this. A spirit does not bite with regular fangs or claw with plain claws. It fights with the spiritual power that it contains. Apparently, even a small badger spirit can have some power, as it took a chunk out of the warrior's arm. Another yip from the werewolf's maw, as his pack mates joined in. His arm, losing some muscle in surprise, dropped Brownface to the ground, but luckily for him, his pack was there after a short couple of scrapes to help. As his muscle knitted back together, the spirit was chewing his muscle in its fangs and swallowed it.